Hey everybody, welcome to Game Day View here. Patrick Claybon back with Greg Rosenthal and Cynthia Freeland. Week 12, and the wild thing about it is, unless you're a fan of a few teams, we're sorry, you're still in the hunt, Greg.
Not only in the hunt to make the playoffs, but I feel like you could come up with a list of about 12 teams this year that could win the Super Bowl. Like in the NFC, I have no idea who is making it to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I'm just a little distracted by my pants. They look very different than I anticipated.
They look amazing.
No, they look so different. Anyways, whatever. I'm a little distracted.
I want to golf with you now.
I'm going golfing after. No, I'm not. But whatever.
Dean Stewart will come with us. Or not.
Now, we're going to Streisand effect Cynthia's pants
Yes.
For the rest of
No,
the
I'm
show.
just
Best
owning it.
week in over a year for me. I was great. And all that happened was I just got tied with Cynthia because for 6 weeks in a row, she's got more than 10 games correct. 3 of those weeks, 11. So Cynthia's doing great. He's going to catch up eventually.
I'm not. I'm wearing the L this year. I'm coming back.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Cynthia's our reigning picks champ, so Greg and I are both looking to dethrone her in that capacity. Similarly, the Seahawks have been chasing last year's division champs, the Rams, but as the late Michael K. Williams said in his role as Omar Little, you come at the king, you best not miss.
This one to be decided by a field goal one way or another. Jason Myers from 61 yards to win it with 1 second to go for the Seahawks. Snap, hold, and boot on the way. It's fading right. It's bleeding right. It's no good. And the Rams are in first place in the NFC West.
The Rams now in sole possession of first in the West. They've won 5 straight, but they've got Baker and the Bucs Sunday night at SoFi, where Baker Mayfield, one fateful Thursday night, saved his career. Does he win against the Rams this time, Greg?
He does not, but he does the next best thing, which is lose by less than 6.5 points. It'll really keep him happy. You know what makes me happy? I have the Rams 28-24. I think it's a really good game that the Rams offense has too much Puka Nacua for what the Bucs can do. It's a good secondary, but what Puka Nacua has done this year has in part been set up by Davante Adams. Now, Puka Nacua is playing in the slot more than he ever has in his career by a good amount, and he is second in the league in yards per route run from the slot. That's partly because Davante's on the outside, and Davante is attracting the number 1 cornerback from the other team so often because they isolate him on one side. That means that Puka Nacua is facing number 1 quarterbacks like 3 times fewer than Davante Adams. He's taking advantage, and ultimately they have too many weapons when Matthew Stafford is throwing the ball.
I have a little bit more of a margin of victory for the Rams. I have a 6-point win, so still on the same side of things as you. I have 27-21 in this matchup. But let's talk a little bit about Davante Adams in the red area specifically. And by the way, the Rams have the most red zone drives that result in a touchdown, partly because when you're looking at this guy, he has 10 touchdowns, 7 of them. They've had a lead, and it's been under like 5 yards. So what's going on here? If you watch a zoomed it, like if you saw the all 22s of what's going on when they get in the red area, what you're seeing is they're making defenses choose if they're going to stop Kyren Williams or stop Davante Adams. And the disguise pre-snap keeps everyone guessing. It's like a penalty kick for a goalie. They just got to pick one or the other one. So eventually, Davante Adams gets in the end zone yet again, and very likely in this one as well.
It's unanimous. I've got a 5-point Rams win because I think they've pretty much got things figured out over on the defensive side, especially in the secondary. Last week against the Seahawks, Darius Williams and Kobe Durant were targeted a combined 17 times by one of the most explosive passing attacks in the NFL. Only gave up 9 catches, got 2 interceptions. So yes, if you are a Bucs fan, take a picture of the screen. In fact, send it to Baker Mayfield. Inspire him to get the win because Baker needs that motivation. We are all on the Rams. It's time for Who's Eating Good, presented by Applebee's. Cynthia, will Baker Mayfield throw for more or less than 241 yards against the Rams?
Well, I think he's going to throw for more than that. I have him projected in my conservative estimations for 247 yards. There are some injuries that the Rams have had this week. I know some of them are on the offense, but I'm looking at Baker's opportunity to kind of keep Baker baking. And what does he need to do? He just throws the ball. That's what he likes to do. So whether or not it's a good idea, who cares? He's going to throw the ball for more than 241.
I can't believe I told people to tweet at players. Don't do that. I was just kidding about that. It should be a fun game. Let's stay in the NFC. Another great matchup this Sunday involves a big rematch from the 2025 kickoff game.
The 2025 season about to begin. It's going to waltz in for a touchdown.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to do it yourself.
Barkley, he's got the first touchdown of his life. He fumbles the football, and it's picked up by the Eagles. Got Lamb down the left side, and he can't hold it. He takes out one man, he dives, he has the first down.
A lot has changed since then, especially at the trade deadline when the Eagles got some help from the state of Florida on offense and defense. Tank Bigsby coming from the Jags, Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins, and then the Cowboys defense got some much needed help. Logan Wilson comes from Cincinnati, and Quinnen Williams comes from the Jets. So not for those guys, but for everyone else, it's a big rematch Sunday in Arlington. Phillies won 4 in a row. Dallas still has a path to the playoffs, but a part of that path is a win here. Do you think they get it, Cynthia?
I do not. I think Philadelphia wins this one by 4 points, 27-23. I was listening to and trying to figure out the tea leaves about what Kevin Patullo was meaning when he says Saquon Barkley is this close to breaking out and having a bit. What does he mean by that? Well, I think it means he's going to catch more passes, especially with Lane Johnson out. There's going to be an increase in pressure from the Cowboys' retooled defense, which means more of an opportunity for Jalen Hurts to use some disguises. There he is, out wide, 26. Look for him in the pass-catching game. I also think Barkley sees the end zone in this one.
My score by 3. You've got a 4-point win. I've got a 3-point win, 24-21. I think the Cowboys defense is better than the last time these two teams met because statistically they might have to be. That was almost assured. But the Eagles, they're better on defense too. And it's not just because of the trade. It's because Jalen Carter will actually play in this game. I know the Lions. Yeah, I know the Lions had some problems, Cynthia.
All right, I'm done watching this.
In the
Enough
interior,
of this film.
yeah, it was a rough one. He was world class, though. He got 5 tackles in the run game with the run stuff, 2 quarterback pressures, and if you don't think 2 pressures is a lot, he was double teamed 19 times in the past game. Maybe that's why 8 other quick pressures came on Jared Goff. So now he's Dak's problem, Greg, actually during the game this time.
I think a big problem for this entire Philadelphia Eagles team is going to be Quinnen Williams. Let's get the upset going. Dallas Cowboys win this game. We're just Gregging it because I see you, Jerry Jones. I can see the vision when you traded away Micah Parsons. No, that was the worst trade ever. No one should forgive him for that. But it is better than the Luka Doncic trade, if nothing else. The vision here is that Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and Odigizua up the middle can create a lot of havoc. They're a little healthier on the back end. And importantly, they're playing a banged-up offensive line. Cam Jurgens hurt in the middle. Lane Johnson hurt on the outside. And we know that Cowboys offense is good enough. If you're just respectable on defense, I think you're going to shut down this Eagles offense, which is not playing well. Cowboys win it.
All right, the reigning champs, currently the 1 seed in the NFC, the team Philly beat in last year's Super Bowl. The Chiefs might be in some trouble. If the playoffs started today, one, that would be weird, but maybe even weirder, Kansas City would not be in.
There's a 3rd and 14. Looking for options. Trying to get away from Franklin Myers and throws, intercepted. That's McMillan with it. And McMillan takes off, slips through the tackle, and Thornton's not going to let him get away. 35 yards, Will Lutz. He's already made 4 today. Lutz in the clutch, and the Broncos have won it.
KC hasn't missed the playoffs since 2014, but they've lost 2 in a row. They're sitting at 5-5. The Colts are coming to town, and I think KC gets them with a 2-point win, 26-24. We wanted the Chiefs to be back to the high-flying Chiefs of old, the knockdown, drag-out days of the past. No, we're back to them. A big sign of that is Travis Kelce, who had a couple targets in the first half last week. They got 11 targets in the second half, including 3 in a row at one point, one of them being a score. I think the Chiefs win this game, and the answer is how, and maybe it's a little bit of Rosenthalian logic because I think the Chiefs are better than 5-5. I think a big part of the game has to be Travis Kelce, and that's how they get the win.
Rosenthalian logic
I love
is
that.
fantastic. I have a bigger win projected for the Chiefs than you. I have a 4-point win, 27-23. I'm looking at this Chiefs defense, and I'm thinking, now's the time. This is where the George Karlaftis of the world. This is where Chris Jones comes in. This is where Steve Spagnuolo gets in his bag. Why? Because we saw the difference when Daniel Jones is really able to work from a clean pocket and be ahead of the numbers, or when he's not. So they're not going to give him that opportunity. This is going to be where they really sell out to get the pressures on Daniel Jones to kind of exploit that part of it. There are some missing pieces on Indianapolis's defense as well, so potentially that could, a better defense for the Chiefs plus an increased opportunity to run could mean the defense is even more impactful as well.
I am worried about the Colts defense. They're not getting DeForest Buckner back
That's
for a while, but they do have Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor is enough for me to believe that we're going to have a changing of the guard here in the AFC. It's a weird season. I have the Colts winning this game. I'm just trying to be a good teammate. There's no meme alerts if I'm just Gregging it up all the time, and then no one sends the mean tweets to Patrick
I kind of
and
like
Cynthia.
the mean tweets, though.
Yeah, it's okay.
We like them.
We asked for it.
You know what I asked for?
What's that?
What?
Highlights of Jonathan Taylor breaking tackles. They're not hard to find. He's broken 67 tackles this season, easily the most of any player in the NFL. He has more yards after contact than every running back in the league except for 2 has, period.
Wow.
That's just outrageous. And I know the Chiefs' run defense is fine this year. It's pretty good. They're a good defense. But to me, they're not difference makers. Jonathan Taylor's a difference maker. I think they get a statement victory in Arrowhead this weekend.
All right, Greg going all by himself with the Indianapolis Colts. Folks, it's time for the feel-good story of the week presented by Geico. Daniel Jones, resurgence, one of the best stories of the entire year, Cynthia. Will Dimes throw for more than 1 touchdown against Spags' defense?
He will. There is an opportunity against this defense with the passing game to target specific areas, and I'm looking at you with a fast get-off speed Alec Pierce. I'm looking at you. Anyone named Tyler Warren, play action passes, he's great at catching those. When you're looking at the opportunity here I like the Chiefs defense. I talked about the front of the defense. There are exploitable areas in the Chiefs defense in the passing game this season. They're not perfect in that area. They're not as strong as we're used to them being. So 2 passing touchdowns, great. It just means we're in store for an even better total game. More points. Who doesn't like points?
For better or worse, Daniel Jones has short memory. Like he
does.
always keeps slanging it, even if he's
when it's
turning the ball over. Plus, this is the feel-good story of the week. If we went under on the feel-good story of the week, I mean, it wouldn't be that feel-good of a story.
Nah, feeling good. We got
good.
a lot to feel good about here on Game Day View because we got more show for you, including the Bears. Yes, the Bears are the kings in the North, but now the schedule starts to look a little bit itchier. Huge matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. Who's going to win? We'll tell you what we think will happen when we come back on Game Day View.
17-16, this for the win here at U.S. Bank Stadium. Daly on the ball. Out of the hole to Torrey Taylor, right hash slide angle left from 49. Cairo Santos, the 8 on his white jersey. Awaiting the snap. Snap is back. Hold is good. Sweeps the right leg. Cairo Santos is up. It's good! Good! Good from 48! Cairo Santos mobbed on the Viking logo. Bears win it 19-17. Another comeback drive by Caleb Williams. The Iceman cometh, and the Bears take it from the Vikings.
You can't trust Victor the Vikings field goal calls. It's time for Seize the Season, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. As we get a look at the first touchdown scorer odds, according to our friends at Caesars, between the Steelers and the Bears, Jalen Warren leading the way with DeAndre Swift, Roma Dunze, and DeKalen Metcalf behind him at plus 1,000. It is the Steelers and the Bears at Soldier Field. Both teams in first place in their divisions for now. Aaron Rodgers dealing with a left wrist injury, but he's pushing to play. What do you think happens here, Cynthia?
I mean, I have a 1-point win for Chicago, 24-23. This assumes that Aaron Rodgers is playing, but he's not 100% healthy. So that's where that comes from. I want to talk about a way to make Caleb Williams a little bit more effective on passing the football. And it's something we've seen in recent weeks, and it's something we know Ben Johnson's going to do. Get the ball to the tight ends. Don't make them throw deep down the field very often. Use your run game. Use shorter, quicker passes. Just get that efficiency up. It's sub 60%. So one of the ways to do that is to really just target these higher probability passes like that one right there and make that go up just a little bit more. So I'm looking at the Bears, their ability to run and their ability to kind of get the passing game just enough, and that's what drives that score. Now, it would be a little different if it weren't Aaron Rodgers playing. It would be a little different if no Jalen Warren. So that is what it is right now.
Cynthia, I'm so much more confident than you in a Bears win. I've got a 2-point win. The Chicago Bears. And I know it's a rough option for me supporting the Dennis Allen-led defense, but if C.J. Gardner-Johnson can forgive Dennis Allen, then so can I. And yeah, the Bears aren't statistically a great defense, but they're an opportunistic one. They got 15 interceptions in 2025, the most in the NFL. They've also forced 8 fumbles. I think a couple of turnovers are the difference because, yeah, whether it's Rodgers or Mason Rudolph, I think Aaron Rodgers is starting over Mason Rudolph for a reason. I would actually be more confident if I thought it was Mason Rudolph in this game, but I've got the Bears as well, Greg.
Wow, some shade there to Dennis Allen, shade to Aaron Rodgers. There are many ways you can watch this show, by the way. You could watch it seeing, the logo that comes up, who we picked to win, or you can look at that number, 2.5 for the Bears. And you can notice that these two actually had it closer than 2.5. So if you're going to just do that, you might as well go the whole way and pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the game. That's what I'm going to do. That's what Darnell Washington would do. He wouldn't do it halfway. He'd be running over defenders making his pick. He'd be jumping over defenders. This is a play that wasn't shown enough. The leap. I love this man. It's only been like 3 weeks since I last did a Darnell Washington clip on this show. He is 311 pounds, and you would think that would slow him down. And I guess it does compared to other tight ends. But it doesn't slow him down in terms of yards after the catch. 7.3 yards after the catch. Get off me! Oh, the last one, forget it! 7.3 yards after the catch on average. That is 4th most of all tight ends in the NFL.
I want to see you next to him.
This man is a skeleton key.
Can we get him on one of our shows?
Please.
He's dwarfing everybody. He's dwarfing actual NFL players.
Right. It's amazing.
Looking forward to that one, folks. Seize the Season is brought to you by our friends at Caesar Sportsbook. New users can bet $1 to boost their next 20 bets by 100%. Must be 21 or older. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms.
Shotgun snap to Love. He bobbles for a moment, now lofts it. Right side of the end zone. Watson leaping grab. Oh, sensational touchdown catch. Christian Watson. My, oh, my, oh, my. They beat Corey Black, and Christian Watson used every bit of his 6'4" frame to go up and grab that one.
The Vikings and the Packers at Lambeau. Green Bay eked out a win last week against the G-Men. Minnesota's playoff hopes hanging by a thread. Is it the Packers coming in to cut that thread, Greg?
I think so. And it's not just because of that defense, which is absolutely fantastic, but it's the offense and the passing attack. I love how Jordan Love looked last week. I love how Christian Watson looked last week. You saw some difficult throws by Jordan Love, and you saw some wide open ones.
Not to say that one wasn't
as
so
well.
difficult.
Look, Watson can win some contested catches. I think he helps Jordan Love out in terms of his plays down the field. And sure, Jordan Love sometimes almost looks for the difficult catches. But, man, does anyone throw a prettier ball than Jordan Love? I don't think so. And he's familiar with this Brian Flores defense, having them in the division. The Vikings have had their shares of good games, but Matt LaFleur ultimately, I think, knows what Flores wants to do, and I think Love can handle it.
Yeah, I think there's a solid game from Brian Flores and that Vikings defense, doing all they can, but I don't think it's enough. I got Green Bay 23-17 because the offense for Minnesota hasn't necessarily been great. J.J. McCarthy has been waiting a touch too long to get rid of the football, and you can't do that against the Green Bay Packers, especially considering that Micah Parsons is playing for the Green Bay Packers. And some people might think that he's not living up to the hype, but his 57 pressures lead the entire NFL. He's converted 8 of those to sacks, and I feel confident that if there's like 25 dropbacks in this game, he's going to add 3 sacks to that total in what's going to be a Packers win.
Well, I too have the Packers, so go ahead and meme us away. I have a 7-point win, 24-17. and I think it could be even bigger, more like 8, 9 points, something like that. So we're all aligned. But I do want to point out one thing that maybe drives my score a little bit closer than you guys, and it's the fact that Elton Jenkins is not going to be 100% or even playing, right? Like, so the O-line is a huge deal because Brian Flores is coming for your life. There will be blitzing. We know this. They blitz at the second highest rate. They always jockey for first and second. Actually, right now they're first. They jockey between them and the Falcons for first and second this season. They're the only two teams over 40% in terms of blitz rate. So taking advantage of O-line deficiencies could be an issue. So what I'm really trying to tell you to do is whichever the starting running back is, be it Josh Jacobs, be it Emmanuel, like, it doesn't matter. Just pick them. They're going to score you some touchdowns. So take the run game.
I would love to see J.J. McCarthy bounce back in this game and keep it closer.
Sure.
And yet, like, this is as tough a 2-game slate as he could possibly have coming off his struggles to go against the Packers this week on the road and then the Seahawks next week.
One guy that's not going to be playing running back for the Packers is a guy who used to play running back for the Packers, Aaron Jones. Another Aaron Jones revenge game. Maybe that helps him. Coming up with the Niners officially back, but don't look now. Bryce Young and the Panthers are in the playoff hunt. They got a primetime date with San Fran Monday night in Santa Clara. Does Kyle Shanahan's squad need to be on upset alert? We'll tell you coming up next on Game Day View.
First and goal from the 4. Let him finish this drive. Back-to-back big plays from CMC. Under center, Purdy. Toss play to McCaffrey. To the right side. Cuts back left. Weaves his way into the end zone. Not once, not twice, but thrice for McCaffrey. Touchdown, 49ers.
It's time for The Read, presented by Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft Copilot, your AI companion for NFL game day and every day. We asked to pick that one player that could flip the momentum of the Panthers-49ers game on Sunday, and Copilot went with the guy playing for revenge, Christian McCaffrey, the guy who spent 5.5 years playing in Carolina, going up against the Panthers, and no comment from Copilot regarding the existence of momentum. Let's talk more about this matchup. Bryce Young and the Panthers getting some primetime love. Brock Purdy looked like his old self last week in Arizona. How does this one go, Cynthia?
Well, okay, I guess I'll agree with Copilot here. I have San Francisco winning by 8, 27-19. And I'm going to talk about Christian McCaffrey.
Let's do it.
Because why is he not a guy we're talking about in, like, you know, some award conversation? At least Offensive Player of the Year. For goodness sake, the man leads the league in touches. He's doing crazy things, but for, like, the amount of, you know, carries he has, the amount of targets he has, the amount of production he has is ludicrous. It's the most for any player who's returned from missing 10 games in a prior season ever, and we're not even talking about that. Don't settle for comeback player of the year. That's stupid. We want to give him offensive player of the year, and he is just such a huge difference maker. For me, the Niners are my 7th seed, and it's almost a lock. I think they have another lock in this game.
I think the problem for CMC in that conversation, Cynthia, because everybody can only focus on so many stats for certain positions, and the rushing yards are kind of dominated by Jonathan Taylor, and so they don't see CMC
Look at this
there.
look.
Yeah, so yeah, pay
Stupid.
attention to more things. Context is important. I agree with Cynthia Freeland. I've also got a 49ers win, 29-25. Niners by 4. I've got the Panthers covering, and considering how much time Jacoby Brissett had in the game last week, I might have picked them to win outright, but Brock Purdy's back. And the Panthers pass rush needs to get to him. He had his 4th longest time to throw of his career against Arizona. It's pretty good, holding the ball over 3 seconds, had the 3 touchdowns. So I think Brock being back gets them the win at home against the surging Panthers, right?
I want to congratulate the schedule makers for having the guts to put the Panthers in primetime this late in the season, and it paying off with a fun revenge game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. 49ers win 31-26, but that's over the number. It's the Panthers keeping it close. So, yes, meme us away, but let's talk about Bryce Young and how he will keep it close enough to cover those 7 points. I was on this show just last week and other shows wondering
humble brag
about Bryce Young's long-term future.
Yeah.
To the consternation of his big fan, Patrick Claybot. And you know what he did? He went out there and he broke the franchise record for passing yards. And these weren't all easy throws. They were dimes. That was him evading the rush against the blitz, creating a special alley and noticing that mismatch there late in the game against T-Mac. When Bryce Young cooks, it just looks so amazing. And as Patrick pointed out, the pass rush for the 49ers not great. So I think he'll cook again this week, and it'll be a fun, high-scoring game.
Yes, I love it when Greg celebrates me being right. The game expected to be one of the highest scoring games of the week. Let's take a look at the rest. Of course, you've got some great streaks in the history of professional sports. The Bengals being on this graphic is one of my favorite. The total is 51.5. Giants, Lions right there at 50, as well as the Colts and the Chiefs, as these are the highest totals according to our friends at Caesar Sportsbook. Time for 2-minute drill, presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card, as we make some quick picks here on Game Day View. The Jags and the Cardinals. Jacksonville pummeled the Chargers last week. Marvin Harrison Jr. still out for Arizona. Can Jacoby look good in a win, Greg?
I think he can, and that's why I'm going to have a Game Day View record, 4th, just Greg, this early in the show. Let's go. Cardinals win 23-20. Jacoby Brissett last week set an all-time record in the NFL, completions. I mean, that has stood for more than 30 years. That is not easy to do against any defense. And yes, Marvin Harrison's not back, but he set this record without Marvin Harrison, and I think he can do it against a Jaguars defense that you just don't know which one is going to show up. Sometimes they're brutal, sometimes they're giving up a ton of yards. But that Jacoby Brissett game reminded me of a formative Sunday afternoon in my youth. And that was the Drew Bledsoe comeback against the Minnesota Vikings. It wasn't always Super Bowl wins for Patriots fans when I was growing up. But then Drew Bledsoe showed up and made us forget about Rod Rust and Dick McPherson. And this was a comeback from 20-0 down. I remember exactly where I was at Son Han's house in my neighborhood. And we were going absolutely nuts as he took this game to overtime and completed 45 passes and eventually got that overtime win. It was a really transformative game in my football fandom. Maybe part of the reason I'm here. Drew Bledsoe, thank you.
Hey, thanks for doing that, Drew Bledsoe.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's my favorite Patriots win of all time. The Seahawks and the Titans. Sam Darnold threw 4 picks last week in a loss to the Rams. To Seattle bounce back, Cynthia.
They sure do. Jackson Smith and Jigba has a great matchup here. Why? Because the Titans give up basically all of the yards to deep passes, and we know Sam Darnold to JSN is the most productive deep passing situation in the league. He has like 240 more receiving yards than the next closest guy. It's 238 if you need to be precise. But that's a ridiculous number, in part because it's all on deep passes. So let's go. I like this one. Look at your score.
I really like this one, yeah.
44-7.
I mean, the worst team in the league against the best team in the league, especially the best defense in the league versus the worst offense. Yeah.
Sometimes Greg likes to send a message with his score picks. Let's go to the next one. The Browns and the Raiders. Shedeur Sanders getting his first career start, and I think he gets a win against the Raiders, the team that we're in the discussion to potentially draft Shedeur Sanders, and I think things worked out for Shedeur. Considering the way that the circumstances are going in Las Vegas, the bar is exceedingly low for him to get a win here. On defense, the Browns have a first ballot Hall of Famer who had 3 first-half sacks a week ago. He had another in the second half. I know folks are excited to see Shedeur Sanders. He had 4 completions in the game. That's the same number of sacks as Myles Garrett had. You can get a chance to, we take your eyes off Shedeur and the Browns are on defense, watch one of the best defensive players I've ever seen play against the worst offensive line perhaps in the history of the National Football League.
Or not. I don't want to watch Geno Smith get sacked 3 or 4 more times, but it would be cool if Myles Garrett sets the all-time sack record, and I feel like that is very much on the
yeah, it's the single
Maybe
game.
this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's in play.
He needs like 8.
Has something to say about that. Come on. Raiders fans, hello.
One team here has a truly great defense. That's the Browns.
Still to come here, it's time to separate the pretenders from the contenders. We're telling you which teams on the NFC playoff bubble will make the postseason and who needs to just start packing up for Cabo. You're watching Game Day View, and now I'm thinking about that old NBC show, The Pretender. That's like, wow, primetime TV used to be great back then.
It did.
We got more football coming up on Game Day View. With NFL Plus, keep the NFL in reach. Stream live, local, and primetime games on mobile during the regular and postseason. NFL Network, including one more exclusive live game this season, live game audio, and more. With NFL Plus Premium, get more football with NFL RedZone, game replays, and NFL Pro. Sign up today at plus.nfl.com/network. Terms and conditions apply. It's time for What's Ahead, presented by Credit One Bank, the Giants and the Lions. Jackson Dart could be back for the G-Men. Detroit looking to bounce back from Monday night's dud in Philly. Cynthia, do your Lions restore the roar?
They do. I have a 31-20 win for Detroit in this matchup. I'm looking at the running backs, and I told you I have actually promised the Giants defense that I'm going to pick on them in the run game for their run defense until they fix it. And now you got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and Dan Campbell said he's going to give David Montgomery even more touches. You also have Jamison Williams out here doing things in the run game and also being explosive in the pass game. They're all creating different looks and opportunities, and as much as I like the Giants front when it comes to rushing the passer, and as much as Brian Burns has been out here doing things, they all have, I still don't think anyone's going to be able to stop an outside run to any of these running backs. And you can go look at some data. I found a new one, a new point, right? It's the speed. They've allowed the most 15+ mile-an-hour rushers against them. That's ridiculous. So until the Giants defense fix their run defense, they're just going to do my homework for me every week.
Yeah, I'm right on the same page with you, except I'm adding 6 points to that total. I've got 37-20. Because Cynthia pointed out, the Giants giving up big plays, and the Lions got a couple dudes that make them, and now that the head coach is calling plays, those two are getting the ball a lot more targets in a 2-game span for Jamison Williams than at any other time this season. In fact, you got to go back to Ben Johnson calling plays last year to see that kind of volume, and the Giants have given up 114 explosive plays. Dead last in the NFL this season. I think you may get to see J-Mo doing some fun celebrations that he won't get flagged for, but George Pickens will, by the way. Just pointing that out, Greg.
Yeah, I love this celebration.
Wait, whoa.
I'm just saying, it was the same exact celebration.
Okay, but here's my defense. Did you see the end of the Eagles game? Interesting.
Okay.
Sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes another. None of it's a conspiracy. Sometimes people are human. They catch it or they don't. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Hated the end of that game.
I support the celebration.
Yes.
For once.
Celebrations for sure.
Yes.
Let's celebrate another Lions win. They're going to bounce back in this game against the Giants, and meme us away. But I am a little concerned about the Lions and their interior offensive line. So I just want to watch in this game. If you're into thinking about what could trip up the Lions in the future, it could be that offensive line this year. Of all the problems, that's what we know the team for. You saw some interior pressure from the Lions in terms of what they gave up against the Eagles. Now you're watching Dexter Lawrence, who's coming off his very best game of the season against Philadelphia. Brian Burns off the edge. Taylor Decker, the way he's talking about his injury and possibly retiring after the season, that's not great either. You have a replacement at one guard spot. You have a rookie struggling at the other. So I just want to watch that matchup up front because I think the offensive line for the Lions, that's going to be the key for them making it far in the playoffs.
The Lions definitely in the playoff hunt, but currently looking on the outside in. Let's take a look at the current NFC playoff picture for you where the Eagles are right there with the first round bye. The Rams, the Bears, and the Bucs leading the division as the Seahawks, the Packers, and the 49ers.
We got to get the Commanders out of there. Got to make an executive decision.
We're telling you there's a chance.
What about the Falcons?
The Falcons are also out as well.
And technically in the hunt's different than in the hunt.
Never tell me the odds. It's time for a playoff push. We'll talk about a few spicy NFC teams and whether or not we think they will be playing in the postseason. We'll start with your Lions, Cynthia. Right now they are on the outside looking in. Does the model have good or bad news for the folks in the Motor City?
Good news. It's all about the schedule. I mean, look, we're week 12. Next week against the Packers will be a huge one at home on Thanksgiving as well. This is where the season is won or lost. Greg said it. This is when games count more. So this is when the schedule gets a little bit lighter for them as well. And the run game is the real reason why they're going to be able to overcome some of the O-line issues because it's getting more creative. Dan Campbell, he's in his bag.
All right, sitting at 7-3, the Chicago Bears are currently the number 3 seed in the NFC, and Kings of the North, you two have your doubts, but I say yes. Chicago Bears will make the playoffs. A big part of my reasoning for that is I believe they get the win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I know their schedule is rough, but the Packers have a rough schedule as well. Cynthia just mentioned that game against the Lions. Then they've got the game in Denver, a game late against the Baltimore Ravens, and a chance for the Vikings to play spoiler in Week 18. If the Bears just win this week and they're able to split with the Packers, I think it's in play. and that's how I think they get in. So congratulations, I think, Bears fans. You get into the postseason.
So do they win the North, or are they a wild card?
Just says, he's answering the question. It says making the playoffs.
Yeah, they just get in, because I honestly don't remember something. My memory about numbers is not as good as yours.
It might take 11 wins to get into the NFC playoffs this year.
A lot of wins.
I don't think they get there.
The Panthers have had a weird season, but they still got a shot at winning the NFC South. Does Bryce Young's squad, who you now believe in, Greg, get into the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't like this downer of a...
Oh, Greg hates it.
I like the segment. I like the Panthers. They might even go 9-8. That's not going to get into the playoffs this year. Their defense is not playoff caliber. I think they're getting coached up well. I think they play hard. But I just don't think they have enough talent. We thought they had kind of fixed their run defense issues. Hasn't been as good the last couple of weeks. J.C. Horn, of all players, has actually struggled the last 2 weeks. A lot of penalties, giving up some big plays. I'm not worried about him. He's a great young player. It's just when you look at their schedule, it's about to get much tougher. So to me, 8 wins is about where I would put their over-under right now. And that's a big step forward for a team that's been at the bottom of the NFL.
Last one, we'll go to the Dallas Cowboys, currently the 10 seed, but they are still in the race. Will they be playing football in the postseason, Cynthia?
They will not.
Oh.
I'm not saying I don't like Dak, because he's been great. And I do like some of the moves they made on defense. But when you're looking at this pass defense, you're still giving up all of the yards through the air. So on those dropbacks where you don't get pressure, it's going for deep completions. When I'm looking at the opportunity, one game against the Raiders does not a playoff team make. Like, not to be mean, but we can't overestimate what we saw on Monday and say, hey, now they've got everything fixed. It looks great. They're going to be winners from here on out. That's not how it works.
Just look at those next 4 games, too. If you count the national window this week, those next 3 after that are island games. It's going to be a lot of Cowboys. I actually think they can win a couple of those games. The problem is the math doesn't really help them out. Like, even going 2-2 in those games would be an accomplishment, and you need to probably win 3 or 4.
Yeah, and Greg, you already talked about the bar to get in the playoffs in the NFC. It's pretty high right now. Still to come on this show, if you're less than 4 years old, you've waited a lifetime for the Patriots to get back to the playoffs. Things are looking rosy for New England. They've won 8 straight. Will they make it 9 Sunday in Cincinnati? Our thoughts coming your way next on Game Day View. Black Friday football is back on Prime Video with a big-time quarterback matchup on a special day. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears take on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's Bears-Eagles Friday, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, only on Prime Video. Time for quick picks here on Game Day View. The Patriots and the Bengals, there is a chance that Joe Burrow plays, but he would be without his top target, Jamar Chase, who is currently suspended. The suspension was upheld. How's this one go, Cynthia?
It goes New England wins 30-17, a 13-point win. I'm going to tell you, just when I thought I couldn't like Drake May anymore and his performance was incredible, he goes out there and he talks about stats and he's like, oh, I think it's just a function of kind of who we played and we haven't had our bye yet, or some teams haven't had their bye yet, which is just... who's more likable than Drake May?
Let's go.
Honestly, no one. But it's also what he's doing on the field. This defense got some issues. How about that? There's some issues.
It's fair to say.
It's fair to say. And you know who can exploit those issues? Drake May and pretty much every single one of his pass catchers. So I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking the numbers for Drake May are going to be massive. The numbers for Travion Henderson, massive. It's just going to be an all-around offensive output for New England.
Let's go elsewhere in the AFC East. The Jets and the Ravens. Justin Fields has been benched for Tyrod Taylor. Baltimore's won 4 straight. Is it going to be 5, Greg?
I believe it will be 30-13 for your Ravens. And the Jets' defense should not provide a lot of resistance. And yet, again, I'm thinking long-term. The Lamar Jackson running game experience has not really been what we are used to seeing. The numbers, the attempts, I just think it's a big part of what they're trying to do. Normally, that's not there this season. Really, that first week was the last time that we saw Lamar Jackson run with abandon. He took a big hit in that game. He obviously had the injury that kept him out. They need to find a little more consistency out of their offense. I don't know if we learned that much in a Ravens-Jets game, but they're not the explosive Ravens rushing attack that they were in previous years.
Well, the good news for them is that there's a Quinnen Williams-sized hole in that Jets defense, so they could probably run pretty effectively, especially in this one, so maybe they get their mojo back here. Clearly, we're forecasting all pretty big wins here, which means a lot of rushing attempts, which means a big game for Derrick Henry. Just, Quinnen Williams, that giant man, he's just a big hole. Go through there.
The big hole has been on the right side of the offensive line if Rosengard and Falele figure out how they're going to approach pass rushes, especially stunts. I think you can feel better about the Baltimore Ravens. The Falcons and the Saints next up. Atlanta put Michael Penix Jr. on IR earlier this week, so it's Kirko Chains getting the start, and that's why I've got the Saints actually winning this 19-17. The Falcons passing game has been one-dimensional with all their starters in. You subtract Michael Penix Jr. and Drake London. Kirk Cousins had a negative 17 completion percentage over expected in his last time out. I don't expect much more than a Saints win down there in the Superdome.
For context, like negative 17% in this case over the season, that's like a one-game situation. If you're doing that over the whole season, usually the number, if it's negative, is like negative 4%, something a lot smaller. So that's a large percentage point if you want to know like what that's at.
All right. Here's another negative.
I'm
the
saying
negative 2.5 points next to the Saints name. Has anyone watched the New Orleans Saints play this season? There is no world where the Saints should be favored in any game, especially over this Falcons defense. The Falcons have a good defense. I feel good about this.
And now we have some audio to save. Maybe we'll hear it next week. Still to come, Greg Stradamus has been on fire. He's at 5 straight weeks on our player props. Coming up, it's time for Write This Down, our favorite props of the week. Do you believe in jinxes? No! We'll see if Greg can keep the streak alive when we come back on Game Debut.
Sensational touchdown catch!
Having so much fun. We ran around without a care in the world, shouting never go down. We will never back down.
You can't kiss him goodbye. Touchdown, pick 6.
Back in the game. Back in the game. I hit the ground, but I'll never stay down.
And a little Sally with the tutty.
Back in the game. You knocked me down, but I'm starting again. Now I'm back in the game. Back in the game.
The Denver Broncos had beaten the Chiefs.
Back in the game. Back in the game. I hit the ground, but I'll never stay down. Now I'm back.
AM Eastern, join Rich Eisen and the rest of the crew, including Cynthia Freeland, as they get you ready for kickoff. The guys break down how Mahomes and the Chiefs can avoid a 3rd straight loss, whether the Eagles can sweep the Cowboys and crush Dallas' playoff hopes, and if the Bears are contenders or pretenders. All that and more Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. On our show, it's time for Write This Down. As we get to some player prop predictions for Week 12, Greg has hit 5 straight weeks. So, Greg Rosenthal, the ultimate heat check. What do you have?
I was told, don't go with Davis Mills. Don't fade Joe Flacco. In my quest to get increasingly esoteric victories for you, I am going over 31.5 yards for Adonai Mitchell, the New York Jets' #1 wide receiver. And I say #1 because he's the most talented guy on the team. He can get wide open. In that game against the Patriots, he was cooking Christian Gonzalez. Just stop the highlight right here. Don't watch the end of it. He is wide open. And people are having their fun with the drops, but he's a very talented young player. He prefers to be called Adonai, by the way, instead of AD. So that's why Adonai Mitchell. He's going to do like 75 yards. I feel great about it.
Okay, I like that one. I like Zach Charbonnet to have more than 39 rushing yards against the Titans, though. I'm looking at what's gone on this run offense for the Seahawks, and you've seen kind of 2 things. One guy gets a kind of all the yards before contact and has a better, that'd be Kenneth Walker. The other guy, it's all after contact, and he doesn't have a high yard per carry average, just 3.3 yards. So when I'm looking at his opportunity in this one against like the 26th or 27th ranked run defense overall, I'm saying Charbonnet, the UCLA product. He's going to have at least 40 rushing yards. Come on.
Yeah, get those 40 rushing yards. It was 40 yards that doomed me last week because I said Emeka Egbuka was going to have 60 against the Bills. So why don't we go back to the wide receiver yardage game and get Devonta Smith over 59 receiving yards against the Cowboys in weeks 5 through 10. Devonta Smith averaged 98 receiving yards a game. I think he can get you 60 against the Cowboys. Thanks for spending time with us here on Game Day View. For Cynthia Freeland and Greg Rosenthal, I'm Patrick Claybon. We'll see you next week. Enjoy Week 12, everybody.